Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the high-end stuff, the high-end sales for the past, I don't know, week or two. Really just mind-blowing prices. I don't know if it's because people are getting their stimulus checks in and just still continuing to spend their money on these cards, but the prices of some of these cards are just, they've just increased like 50%, you know, over the last month or two. It's really wild. So we're going to look at really high-end stuff, booster boxes, PSA cards, singles as well. So first one we've got is a Shining Flare Wingman, one of my favorite cards from GX. It's always been a pretty expensive card. This card normally sells for around $400, $450 depending on condition. I've bought 3 or 4 of them at that price. I've even bought graded ones for $400. But on April 21st, this card sold for $650. That's the highest I've ever seen this card sell for raw. And if you look at the condition of the card, dude, it's got chipping on it. You know, it's really not great. I mean, it's okay. It's a nice binder card, but are you really going to spend $650 on this? I mean, this is just, look, it's even got a busted corner, and the guy spends $600, and look how damaged this card is, and it's sold for $650. I know it says $749, but the actual selling price is $650. I don't know if I can show you that again. Yeah, the actual selling price, the offer that was accepted was $650. I really don't know why someone would pay, like, it just doesn't make sense. $650. I understand spending that amount of money on a card that basically looks gem mint, but I mean, this is far from it. It's got surface issues, it's got whitening, it's got corner issues. I mean, it is not in good condition, and it sold for $650. That's just mind-blowing to me. These GX cards, I keep telling you guys, I don't know what's going on with these GX cards, but they're just going up to the moon. I mean, they're going to eclipse, you know, the original classic stuff eventually. I mean, is everyone moving into GX and nobody cares about the classic, so the classic stuff's going to drop in price? I don't know. Next, we have Magic Formula. We talked about this last time on this Market Watch kind of thing. $1,200 for the entire stimulus check on Magic Formula. And again, this card is in very good shape, but it's not a gem mint card. It's got scratching, it's not really centered well, it's got some chipping on the top, but it's a first edition Magic Formula from Gladiator's Assault. I don't really understand this. I mean, I guess you could be a person that only collects, you know, maybe high-end Dark Magician stuff, and this is for your collection, so it's worth it to you, but I mean, I would assume for 99% of collectors, this is really not worth it. I mean, this is it's a very rare card, but man, for $1,200 you can do a lot. Well, less now than you could before, but you can still get a lot done with $1,200. So it's just incredible to see this price. Next, we have more GX stuff. This is 9 GX cards. Sold for $900. This was actually yesterday this sold. So he's got Flame Wingman, Cyber End Dragon, Thunder Giant, Aqua Neos, Ancient Gear Golem, Wild Edge, what else you got? Dark Bright, Wild Wingman, and Magma Neos. Now, Elemental Hero has slight edge where next rest look mint to near mint. Now this is a good price. This is a pretty decent price. I know it's hard to say that for $900, basically $100 per card. And if you're looking at it, these two cards, Ancient Gear Golem and Cyber End Dragon, I mean, those are like, that's like $800 right there. Wild Edge, $200-$300. Flame Wingman's getting pretty expensive, maybe $100. I mean, this is a pretty good deal. It's hard to say that, but for $900, especially if these cards are gem mint condition, it's a really good deal for this guy for $900. Especially if this stuff could grade high. I mean, $900 is a pretty solid deal. I didn't see this. I kind of wish I did. Otherwise, you know, it might have been me that had been bought this, but this was a really good deal for $900. Even for $1,400, it's kind of not bad of a deal either. You know, for $1,400, you'd want to see pictures of at least Cyber End and Ancient Gear, but not bad. That's a steal for whoever got it. Hard to say, but $900 is a pretty good deal. World Championship promo, Dark Magician Girl Ghost Rare, $2,300. I don't remember how many of these were printed. My gut is saying 1,000, but I don't really know if that's right. If there's 1,000 or 500, even so, even at 500, it's still pretty pricey. But it is a Ghost Rare Dark Magician Girl Championship card, so I mean, this price is probably about right. I mean, I don't think I would pay this much for it, especially for a raw card. I think I've seen the graded ones go for maybe about $100 more than this, $9.5. So for the raw version, that's kind of expensive. But you know, Dark Magician Girl Ghost Rare. You know, these cards. Dark Magician Girl is one of those cards that's just hugely expensive. Yeah. Next, we got something absolutely wild. This is a Yugioh Ultimate Rare. So you got to be careful when you look at these sold listings. A lot of times people will buy the card and not pay for it. So the listing will say sold. And then you'll see, if you look at the sold listing, it'll say this item has been relisted. So it's essentially a fake sale. Like it didn't actually go through. This, on the other hand, does not appear to be a fake sale. I guess if we look at his other items, can't really tell. Yeah, I don't see it listed, so I guess it actually went through. I guess the payment went through. Asian English Yugioh from Shadow of Infinity. Asian English cards are a whole different monster. They're much more difficult to find than the American English or the Euro print, just because they were a lot less printed and they were only available in China. I don't remember, but they're always expensive. When people list these cards, they're always very expensive. But to see this go for $7,400, I mean, this might be a pop one. I mean, I don't know, and I don't really feel like looking it up. It could be a pop one or pop two or something like that. And there's likely not going to be more of these cards or many more that show up. So it's really just however much someone wants to pay. I mean, the guy can ask whatever he wants, and if someone's willing to pay for it, there might be one person out there willing to pay that. So $7,300 is a wild price, but someone who collects the highest of high-end cards, I guess this is for them, because $7,300, dude, that's so many cards. That's a ton of cards. You've got to have a lot of excess money to be spending that. Just wild. I cannot believe this is what we're seeing now. Next, we've got another wild one. This is IP Masquerena. Chim is, I don't even remember what that is. But this has always been a pretty expensive card. People play it. To see this go for $1,200 as a PSA 10 is nuts to me. This is a new card. I don't know if there's just hype around this card or what, but I cannot believe people are paying this kind of money for this card. I mean, this card's new. This card's a new card. So I don't know. Is there something difficult about grading prismatics? Are they difficult to grade as 10s or something? I mean, I'm not sure, but it was my understanding people are actually using this card in decks. So to see one graded as a 10 go for $1,200 is nuts. It's just nuts. So next we've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon LOB. So I know it says one sold and last one. So one did sell for $1,500. That's not a fake sale, man. $1,500 for a BGS 9.5 with low subs. The lowest BGS 9.5 you can possibly get sell for $1,500. I'm not sure why someone would buy that. I mean, PSA 10s are like $500 or something. I'm not really sure why $1,500 with low subs was what someone decided to spend on this card. So it's just a little confusing to me, but, you know, it happened, apparently. Next, we have this pristine Blue Eyes White Dragon Championship Series. You know, it's got 310 subgrades. That's really hard to get. $3,000 is what this sold for. I mean, I guess so. I guess it's really, when you look at these prize cards, the market for the people who collect prize cards are very small, and the people who collect those prize cards have pretty deep pockets. So they, you know, basically will spend whatever they want. I mean, they can afford it. So, I mean, $3,000 might not be a lot, but I mean, I know this card was listed for a while, so, you know, it's just crazy. $3,000 for this. It's not even a really good-looking version, in my opinion, but someone who collects exclusively Blue Eyes, it might be another opinion. We've got Guy the Fierce Knight here, PSA 10 for $3,000. I do not know if that is actually the sold price, but this sold yesterday. This is a very new certification. 46 million is very new. $3,000 seems absurdly high, and it appears to be a real sale. I don't know why people are spending this kind of money. For $3,000, you can get like a PSA 9 Blue Eyes White Dragon. I don't know why you'd want to buy a Gaia, the Dragon Champion. I've seen these things go for $400 or $500, so to have them go for $3,000, and it would appear to be a glossy print. I can't tell. Is that chipping on the edge? No. You see this right over here? Wait, on the left side edge here? That looks like some chipping. That's pretty wild. Yeah, there's definitely chipping. This might not even... Wow, that's kind of a weak PSA 10. Man, people just throwing away money for weak PSA 10s. But, you know, I guess they're paying for the grade, not the card, you know. Next, we've got a PSA 10 DDS Blue Eyes White Dragon. Nothing really new here. $3,000 is about where these things sell for. They sell constantly for $3,000. No real uptick in price here. Wow, that has the hollow foil dots going through, and that got a PSA 10. I didn't notice that. That's interesting. It's kind of an older sub. 42 million at this point. It's kind of old. But for $3,000, that's about where these things lie. We've got a PSA 10 Dark Magician Girl from Magician's Force, $4,700. That's kind of what I heard these things normally sell for. Pretty old certification, but it looks like it's really, really nice looking card. I don't see any issues on the edges or the corners, and obviously you can't tell about the surface. The centering looks kind of weird, but I guess it's good enough. $4,800. Again, really, really high price in my opinion. That's crazy. When BGS 9.5s are selling for half of that, that's crazy. We've got an Asian English Exodia head for $1,000. Asian English cards. I guess people are going to start moving into Asian English cards because the American English cards are becoming wildly high in price. I personally don't like it. I don't know. If I'm going to buy some LOB cards, it's not going to be Asian English. It's going to be North American. So, I mean, I wouldn't spend $1,000 on this at all. I would not. I don't see how these cards could really go up really, really that high in the future. But again, I have no idea. These seem like second class LOB first edition cards. This and the Australian versions. So, not for me. Next, we're going to move into some sealed stuff. We've got the 2002 tins. These are the best tins in my opinion. Oh, that's kind of nasty. Look at that. The plastic's like melted a little bit. Wait, are these not sealed? Oh, they are. They kind of didn't look sealed. Best tins, first tins for $1,500, you know, these are purely a sealed collection piece. Obviously, the packs inside are unlimited, so there's really no chance of you getting your value back. This is just something a sealed collector would purchase. So for 6, I don't know, with tax, you're looking at about $300 a piece. That ain't too bad. The Blue Eyes and the Dark Magician, I think, are probably worth the most. But the Red Eyes as well is probably worth a lot of money. But for roughly $300 a piece, you know, final sales after tax, not too bad. Pretty good. We've got a wavy LOB box for $10,000. Last I saw this, one of these sell for, I'm not sure if it was wavy, was for about $7,000. You know, I hope this thing is a legitimate box. It kind of looks like it is based on this picture. This guy's got a lot of other boxes, so I would assume that this is probably a legitimate box. But you know, the thing about LOB boxes is I feel like I see them on the market all the time. I feel like they're exchanging hands all the time. I feel like the supply might be higher than we think, just because I see them. I mean, you can buy an LOB box any day of the week. You know, if you look at something like base set first ed Pokemon cards, I mean, those basically don't exist anymore. So the fact that these LOB boxes are on the market all the time makes me kind of think that there's a lot more out there than we think. So $10,000, that's a lot of money. Next we have Dark Crisis, $1,500 for a sealed box. So the person who bought this must be a sealed collector, because the PSA 10 cards out of this set are just not worth the money. I mean, I bought a Exodia Necros PSA 10 for $200, and a Vampire Lord PSA 10 for $400, and those are the most two expensive cards from the set. I'm not sure what else there is. Maybe Dark Flarenite, Reflect Bounder. Everything else is kind of just junk. So $1,500 must just be a sealed collector. It also kind of makes me more confident in saying that Dark Crisis cards are severely undervalued, because the boxes are just selling for just this astronomical amount of money. It kind of blows my mind. You can buy a Vampire Lord for like $40 first edition near mint. That really doesn't exist for any of the other sets. We've got a Elemental Energy booster box for $1,400. I think this is hobby. I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit more research, but I'm going to assume this is hobby because of the sale price. $1,400. I'm not sure if someone intends on opening this or just having it sealed. This is a hard box to find, especially if this is a hobby box. The corner is ding there, so I would assume not for collection purposes. But to open this box up is obviously very risky, but the returns can be very, very high. If you pull a well-centered Ultimate Rare Shining Flare Wingman and get it graded as 10, you'll get your money back. But the chances of that happening are very unlikely. So I guess it's a collection piece, but the corner is damaged, so I'm not sure. Lastly, we have a Retro Pack 1 box. Now, these things really basically just don't exist. I've seen like 2 or 3 come on the market in the past like 3 years. $7,500. I think that's right. You know, even at $10,000, if you had the money and you know, you had the money to waste, that's not too bad, because these things pretty much don't exist. I mean, there's probably less than like, I don't know, I can just throw out a number, I don't know, 100, probably less than that. I mean, these things just do not exist. They were super, super short printed. I mean, you look at the cards inside, any of the secret rares are worth a lot of money. I mean, you look at the price of a Cyber Harpy. I mean, that thing in light play condition is like an $800 card. So, I mean, it's Retro Pack 1 is seriously a very high-end collection piece and very, very difficult to get. So, yeah, that's all I had for this video. Really high-end stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what I may have missed or what you want me to kind of talk about and review next time. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.